Hello and welcome to the Start Inward podcast. Every week, new episodes are brought to inspire you to take action, challenge your mindset, and encourage you to love yourself. I'm your host, Hannah, and I'm so glad you're here. I want to start this episode off with a poem that I came across, because not only is it very eye-opening, but it also sets the theme for this week's episode. Okay, so here it goes. I'm trying to see things in perspective. My dog wants a bite of my peanut butter chocolate chip bagel. I know she cannot have this because chocolate makes dogs very sick. My dog does not understand this. She pouts and wraps herself around my leg like a scarf and purrs and tries to convince me to give her just a tiny bit. When I do not give in, she eventually gives up and lays in the corner, under the piano, drooping and sad. I hope the universe has my best interests in mind, like I have my dog's. When I want something with my whole being, and the universe withholds it from me, I hope the universe thinks to herself, "Silly girl, she thinks this is what she wants, but she does not understand how it will hurt." When I read this poem initially, my first thought was, whoa, that is deep. Because as I began to reflect on the course of my life so far, I can't help but think of many situations I've been in where I've wanted something so bad and with my whole being, but never got it because there was something else that was in store for me. And maybe you can say the same for yourself. Maybe you're in a position right now where there is something that you want with your entire being, where you're wishing and praying, or if you just have this one thing or person, your life will be complete and whole. But for some reason, it seems to be slipping farther and farther away from you, from your grasp. And maybe right now you feel stuck, hopeless, as if nothing is working for you no matter how much effort you put in, how much time you invest, and how much faith you have. You're a good person, right? So why is nothing good going for you? Why aren't you seeing the blessings and miracles that so many other people seem to be having? These are thoughts and feelings that I have had for the longest time. And I do want to share a story that happened to me in a moment. But I do want to say that whatever you may be experiencing right now is valid. I get it. I get that you're confused and a little lost. And what's beautiful about human nature is that we all have experienced this at some point in our lives and in ourselves. And this is what connects us and allows us to relate to each other. So I want to take a moment to share a story that happened to me quite recently that you can empathize with and maybe understand that in the grand scheme of things, everything does happen for a reason and everything does happen for a purpose. So in April of this year, I began job hunting. Every day I would go to a coffee shop, sit there for a few hours, and submit job applications, one after the other. A month went by, and I finally got a response from a recruiting company to do a virtual interview, and I was so excited. I remember doing all the research I could on this company, practicing for the interview, prepping. And when the day came for me to speak with the director of training and development, I knocked it out of the park. We were on the call for an hour, and I could tell that he was interested in me as a potential candidate. The next day, he emailed me and said that he wanted me to speak with the vice president of the company. And I was so thrilled because I was so ready to work. And I knew that once I got this second interview down, my job search would be over because I would secure this position that in the moment was everything I wanted and more. So once again, I practiced and prepped for the conversation. And once again, I knew after the call that the vice president really liked me as a potential candidate. 2 days later, the training director, who I spoke with initially, reached out to me and wanted to do an in-person interview. And at that point, I was so certain that I got the job because keep in mind, this is my third interview now. So I went in, and for the third time, I did what I had to do, and the cues that I was getting from him made it seem like they wanted to hire me. A week goes by, I get a call, and the training director tells me, hey, we want you for this position. The only thing we're waiting on is a job offer from the president. So I'm thinking, great, I secured this. I have this in the bag. I got the job. So for 2 months, I wait. Yeah, you heard that right. 2 months. Every week, the training director calls me and he says, hey, we still haven't gotten the offer yet. How are you holding up? And every week, I say, hey, I'm still here. I'm being patient. On July 3rd, I get once again another weekly call from him. This time, however, he tells me, Hannah, I'm so sorry to do this, but the president has decided that she wants to fill the position in their hometown in Cleveland, Ohio. When I tell you that my heart dropped, my heart dropped. I was so disappointed, so upset with myself, and so angry because for 2 months, I waited. I believed I had the job in the bag, which meant that for 2 months, I wasn't actively applying for any other job. This job position I wanted so badly with everything. I practiced, I prepped, and more importantly, I had the faith that I was going to get it. So I was patient, all to find out that I was rejected. I cannot express to you how, for lack of better words, how down bad I was. So I cried. I pretended to suck it up. And once again, I went on a job hunt. And it got to a point where I was applying for literally anything. 1 month later, in August, I received an email from a rape crisis center asking me to do an interview for them. And I was like, yeah, sure. In my head, anything was good at that point. So I did the interview. And that same day, I was offered the position of Education and Prevention Training Coordinator. I took it, and needless to say, this was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because in this position where I currently work, I have the autonomy that I want. I'm able to be as creative as I can, develop curriculum, and most importantly, I am doing what I love the most, public speaking. I am meeting new people all the time. I am networking with professionals. I am learning more about mental health, about sexual assault, about rape culture. And I'm so excited and happy where I'm at. And looking back, if I had gotten that job that I desperately wanted, I wouldn't have been doing what I was passionate about. And I wouldn't have the flexibility as I have now. It's as if the universe was saying, silly girl, she thinks this is what she wants, but she does not understand how this is not for her. I share with you this story because maybe you are in a place in your life where there is something that you really want with all your heart. Maybe it's a job, a relationship, love, more money, whatever it is. And maybe the reason why it's being withheld from you is because there is something that is better, more compatible, more worthwhile for your life. Instead of focusing so intensely on what you don't have, instead of holding on to this thing or person with all your might, change your perspective and trust the process. I know that this is much easier said than done, but take the faith that you do have in what you currently want and redirect it. Have faith and trust that everything is working out in your favor. I'm not saying that you should give up or lose hope. What I am saying is trust that what is for you will make its way to you. Because what is for you will come with ease. There will be no stress, anxiety, or pressure. Patience is key, and action must also be paired with patience. So if you feel like you are doing everything you need to do and not seeing the results you want, then I encourage you to open your mindset, see a different perspective, and try something new. Remember, everything happens for a purpose, even if you can't see it right now. You are being aligned with what you deserve. I believe that, and I also believe in you and your journey. More importantly, it's time for you to start to believe in yourself. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. For more content like this, please subscribe, feel free to leave a comment, rating, and review, and share with someone you know. Until next week, my friends, Please stay safe, know that you're loved, and never forget your worth.